All right. Welcome back to another episode of Breaking and Adventuring, a podcast where we invite you into the world of the Adams County Sheriff's Office and beyond. So we're going to share the backgrounds, stories, experiences of the men and women of the Adams County Sheriff's Office. Stop. Don't look at me like that. And the greater law enforcement public safety community. I flubbed it already. I know. That was bad. So I'm your host, Sergeant Adam Sherman, and today we're visiting with my friends, Detective Dave Snelling and Dionne. So Dave is with the Arvada Police Department, and Dionne is with the Boulder Police Department. And they are going to talk to us a little bit about their experience with crisis communications and how important that is to our communities and for public safety as a whole. So we'll start with backgrounds.
You're only two friends?
Today only.
Do you have more than two, please?
2.5.
Okay.
There's a good start.
There's an acquaintance running around somewhere. So if you want to just tell us a little about yourselves and how you got to where you are in the world of public safety and public information. Dionne, you want to go first?
Yes, Adam, I would love to go first. Thank you.
Inside
Thank you
joke, she begged me to let Dave go first.
Opportunity. So that's all right. I'm cooler than Dave. I'll go first.
Oh, very good.
So I started off my career as a newspaper journalist.
Okay.
And that's what I wanted to do ever since, I was like 12 years old. Love the writing, love just kind of telling stories, using the written word. And then as I got older, I kind of realized I actually needed to make a living. And so I jumped to the PIO side of things, worked for an agency back east, and then came out here, worked for the Jeffco Sheriff's Office, just doing solely social media and then some media. And then I started working for the city of Boulder just over about 4.5 years ago.
Okay.
PIO embedded in the police department there. And it's been nonstop ever since.
Yeah, there's things happen occasionally around there. Major university, large population, touristy area. So every now and again, you have to deal with some stuff. What about you, sir?
I've been around for a little while.
What?
So, yeah, I know, right? Hard to tell.
I'm
actually only 30. So
law enforcement's a tough job.
It is. It really wears on you. I looked much younger until 7 years ago when I started PIO work. But I've been a cop now for almost 33 years. And I've been assigned to public information for going on 7.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's been interesting. I've loved every minute of my career. And I can definitely say every assignment I've had from one to the other has been increasingly more difficult. And especially being a public information person and having to share with your community all the information starting in 2018-19, things got a little dicey and more difficult, and people were much more critical. And yeah, a lot's happened in 7 years.
Yeah, and being able to make it digestible for your public. Because I know, at least from the law enforcement perspective, using your career and your knowledge and experience, but try to have how to formulate that so you can get your information out, and then also having the perspective from the journalism side of how to better do that. I think from our little PIO public information community, it's a good blend to have a little bit of both and backgrounds to be able to get that done. But
oh, absolutely, and I learn from people like Dionne all the time how to not talk like a cop.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't understand, the certain terms we have for things, and it doesn't translate well. It doesn't translate well into other languages.
Yeah.
Actually. So it's been really helpful to know people like Dionne and some others that, especially in that media background, and then learning the blend of media and law enforcement. It makes us be able to, it's nice to deliver a message in a critical moment when community members are stressed.
Yeah. Yeah. And you have to give them those action items like, no, here's what I need you to do or what you need to know. Well, so a little bit about your careers and how you got to where you are. So what is a PIO to you, and what are some of those primary responsibilities for your agencies?
Well, that's a great question. So, and
thank you.
On a couple of that, I can't believe you wrote it. Somebody else did.
It's a crayon.
It's really important. We talk about transparency and getting information out. All of that stuff is important, but it's important to talk to the folks that pay your paycheck. The people that pay taxes. They want to know where their money's going. They want to know what their cops are doing. And they want to know that when their cops don't do well or do the wrong thing, that they're accountable and that we're making sure we're doing everything we can to keep a community safe. And I mean, to share information out is incredibly difficult because there's also times where we can't share information. And it's so hard to explain to somebody in the community, hey, you know what? This is a mental health case, or this is involving juveniles. We can't share that with you right now. Or the biggest thing that I found, and one of the hardest things, is dealing with and making sure victims are taken care of. I think the component when people want to point a finger at a police department or get information from a police department, we may be missing that there's a victim involved here and they are priority one.
Absolutely.
So I think that is mainly my job in ferreting that out and finding the right balance between notifying the community of a murder and making sure the family's been notified that their loved one's dead.
Yeah. And it's a blend too, because and what we try to do here is kind of pull the curtain back a little bit. Just people might not know of just even the internal battles within an agency as you have a critical incident or even just a homicide or simple, some sort of simple crime that happens, of the balance between your investigators. Nope, don't release this. Your executive team, yes, release this. Your, the legal side, nope. Your city attorneys and stuff, nope, don't. So us as communicators, we're trying to walk that fine line between all those plus other elements of, what falls within victims' rights and things that we have to do first. And so it's a giant juggle that people aren't going to see. So when you see the tweets of like, why are they putting out info? Sometimes we physically can't.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's funny because that's what I was going to touch on as well. I consider myself kind of a liaison when it comes to information. Like, yes, letting know all the different audiences know in the community, but also internally helping, civilian staff, but also sworn understand. Here's why the community is asking.
Yeah.
What is obvious to you because you've been doing this for 2, 3, 5, 7, 10, 20 years is not so obvious to the community whose general understanding of law enforcement comes from TV. So it's like, here's why they want to know this. And it's like, even though I can't tell them the answer to this, I can respond as the police department on this particular social media platform to acknowledge, hey, here's the question. There is someone we're listening. This is what we can tell you, and this is what we can't. So it's just helping internally as well understand the importance of being as transparent as we can with saying something, even though we can't say what they might want to know.
Right. Or things they might be hoping to hear.
Yes.
Yeah. So to pivot a little bit and go from just generically what we do on a daily basis. So in times of like crisis for your city, your town, your community, what is crisis communications and how is that somewhat different from what we just do on just a daily public information aspect?
It truly is a nightmare all the way around. And the fact that people have this understanding of television, it literally is. You can prepare for your worst day, but the problem is you're not prepared.
Yeah.
No matter how you want to think or predict, the worst thing that's going to happen when it does happen, and it happens in your community, even police departments are struggling. They're trying to get things taken care of. They're trying to handle business. And it can be at times controlled chaos. And for community members to be frustrated or upset, that's totally understandable. When you see dozens of cop cars racing to a scene and you want to know immediately, are my children safe? Or is the school on lockdown for a reason? Or basically, how am I going to get home? Those at the moment, those probably aren't the things we're looking at when there's a shooting or an officer involved shooting, or even an officer death, or a homicide anywhere in your city or jurisdiction. So, yeah, I will pull the curtain back on that and say it's controlled chaos.
Yeah.
We're doing the best that we can with the time that we have and the resources. Please be patient.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't think I can say it any better than that. Truly, you can have a lot of experience. You can try and prepare. You can have plans about what to do when something happens, and you'll learn about it after the incident, weeks later. But it is just complete chaos. Everything goes out the window when you're just focused literally on the seconds of what's going on at that very moment.
Yeah. And so when that oh darn moment happens and you have to respond, and
that's not what I say, but okay.
This is a family show, David.
Oh, sorry.
But when you have that moment and you're scrambling to start putting the pieces together and you're gathering info as you're starting your initial, instant command briefings and things like that, what are your priorities, even at like a basic, like I need to do this, like 1, 2, 3, but what are kind of those top priorities as you're getting started for a big incident?
I'd say initially trying to figure out what our audiences are, depending on it. Is it something at a school? Is it something at a grocery store? Is depending on what your audiences are, and then quickly figuring out the best way to get the information out. People want to know, can they go this way? Or is there a threat to public safety? How quickly we can get the most basic information out to the right audience in the fastest way possible, the most accurate way possible. Because it's better to be accurate than fast, because you can never take anything back.
Right.
So I think starting there, figuring that audience, and then you're going to get that out.
Right.
I think in those early moments, it is community safety. You know, we got to make sure that everybody is safe. And it's hard to explain to people. And, you know, I'd like the viewers to understand that, you know, there may have been a violent crime and we don't have the suspect yet, but I'd say a good 90% of the time we're on the trail.
Right.
But we can't release things and tell you we're on the trail because there's things we need to do. There's investigative components that got to come together. There's tracking of an individual. There's not wanting to scare an individual to run or flee. You know, there's a good chance we may know where they're at and exactly what but we can't share that because it's a detriment to the investigation.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing I would really stress is that we don't have all the information, even in the hours after an investigation. I mean, things change. So when there's the original statement to something that comes up hours or even a day later and it changes, that's not misguiding the community members. That's not knowing.
Right.
That's simply the investigation evolving. So we may say there's a suspect, and 2 days later we come out and say there's 2 suspects. Well, it's not that we're not telling the truth. It's the fact we didn't know.
How dare you? I know you're holding back. Yeah. No, it's.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, we're not holding anything back. We just may not know, or
Yeah.
we simply can't for investigative reasons. And I think it's critical for, you know, the folks that are looking at our agencies and first responders to understand that.
Yeah, and it's funny. I've had to equate it almost to like a game of telephone, like when you're in like kindergarten, to where
100%.
you know, of course, you have a 911 caller who sees something, but they're not really sure what they're interpreting, what they're seeing. But then they tell a dispatcher, who then types it up, or a call taker who gives it to a dispatcher, who gives it to another. So by the time we're showing up, we're only getting a fraction of what it is. And then as they tell, you know, different people who are responding and EMS and stuff. So by the time we're showing up, half hour, 45 minutes later, who knows what the actual real thing is as we're pulling apart the layers of the onion. So yeah, information does change and does change quickly. So I think us having those, you know, this preliminary type understanding or statements is super important. So what are some key things you do want to communicate in those first few moments as you're getting out your first information?
Life safety.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a threat to the community? That's the number one thing. Is there a threat, whether it's what is going on? If it's an incident, there's a lot of people in this area. The number one thing, there's no threat to public safety, or there is a threat to public safety. Stay out of this area. That's the number one thing. And then if there's something we need the community to do, the ask. If you've seen this type of car or this type of person, or if you saw something, I think the ask the community if they saw something, let us know.
So, and you mentioned that you're not really controlling any of the information going in or out, but I mean, we do our best to kind of manage what we're doing. So what are some ways or things that you do to manage information during a crisis? So I know, you know, sometimes we lean on other people, or we, you know, other people just randomly show up who are in our field, who start helping. But what are some things that you're going to start checking off? So we kind of talked about that, but I mean, I'm thinking of, okay, I've got you know, you go do this. I need you to do that so I can breathe for a second. I don't know. What are just some of those things in your experience that were helpful?
I think when colleagues arrive at a scene, and again, for people not knowing a lot about what we do, you know, when there's a critical incident or a shooting of some sort, you know, you see the police, you see the paramedics, you don't see the information gatherers
Mm-hmm.
in the background doing their thing. But you do see our end product. You see statements on the news. You see, you know, information on X or Instagram or Facebook, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
that information is coming from us. And it's critical because we're there too. We're right in the mix of things. You just don't happen to see us. And the other component is we're also, trying to use media as a conduit, in addition to posting stuff on social media. So when you see stuff on social media, that's coming directly from us in the early moments. And when you're seeing stuff on the news, that's coming through the media. So it's like you were talking about the terrible phone game.
Yeah.
It's difficult with the media because they have 30 seconds to a minute of a news piece. You have maybe 12 seconds of that most. And it's hard to get your information out through the media. They're great for breaking news and information like that. But again, if you're cued to something, I would come to us. But those are my first bigger things.
Gotcha. Just being that source.
Being the
for
trusted
media and
source.
community. Yeah, no, that works.
One of the best things, though, about Colorado and here is that we have this regional PIO group.
What?
Yes. I don't know, because you
Tell
only
me
have
more.
2 friends. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
If you'd branch out,
Maybe go to 3 or 4 friends. You might meet some of them.
Are they on MySpace? I'm big
Yeah.
on MySpace.
Reddit. They're on Reddit. So
Okay.
you have to join Reddit.
All right.
So
I'm wondering why my chat room is so empty on AOL. Nobody's ever in there anymore.
that group has made all the world of difference just working here because, like Dave said, they just show up.
Yeah.
No matter what experience, what you have, whatever, they know just to show up. They know what to do. They know what to not do. And so they are also the ones who are just critical in those moments, helping us get out that information and figuring things out and reading it to say, hey, actually, here's a typo or here's something, or let me look at that while you actually take a quick moment to maybe do something else that you have to do, because a lot of things get put on the PIO. Don't know who to give it to? Just give it to the PIO. Kind of all other duties as assigned sometimes. So that group is just critical to kind of helping make sure that this whole area really gets good information quickly, I think.
No, you're absolutely right. And it's funny, whether on the communication side, that region-wide, statewide networking is huge. So we can just almost plug and play into each other's incidents and just automatically we get it. We're on the same page. And I've seen it too, where and I don't know if it's a newer thing, but even like with, traffic units and motors, to where they're training together. So you're getting a lot of canine units and bomb units. So you're getting a lot of these specialty units for public safety, to where if there is an incident or something, where everybody's automatically on the same page. And I think that just gives a better service to the greater community as needed. So it's a great tool to have, to be able just to reach
I think
out.
that's incredibly beneficial, going to the fact of making it more controlled and less chaos. And these multi-jurisdictional things, Dionne's experience with the King Super shooting, our experience with, people shooting in Arvada, in Old Town. It's incredible when those murders take place to turn around and know that there's other colleagues coming to help you out and share that information. And they're all gathering information to get out to the community. And again, it's going as fast as it can.
Yeah.
But it's those type of instances where they show up and these tragic community murders take place. And of course the community is going to be scared and they're going to be frightened. And, we'd love to tell everybody everything is okay, but it's going to take a minute.
Yeah. And I just can't even imagine the onslaught of just your phone's nonstop ringing. Your voicemail is completely full at one aspect. Your emails are just through the roof, and being able to just be like, here to a colleague just showing up. And that's one thing I can not think about for 5 minutes. It's got to be huge. So you mentioned it, so this is your fault, but with any of those major incidences, is there anything you would do differently now looking back? A little time has passed where you're like, hey, I did the best I could at the time. Oh, well.
For me,
Yeah.
110%, I do a lot of things differently. The one thing I would not change is having all the colleagues show up, because when you say that, you can hand the phone off and things like that. And, Boulder's case is a little different, but with me, it was trying to think about, my whole time was spent thinking about, there's 3 dead people in one shooting, and one of them's a police officer and the other's a good Samaritan. And it's like thinking of their families,
Yeah.
and literally putting their families first. you know, before you can have any emotion impacted in there, and making sure they're taken care of. And by that, if it's sheltering them from comments or if it's sheltering them from media inquiries and things like that, I think that's a huge component people don't realize that we do, and that is protecting the victims. I mean, I work almost weekly, if not daily, with our victim advocate outreach group and trying to help folks. And to me, that's the most satisfying component is making sure that those folks are taken care of and then making sure that our community members are well informed.
It's interesting because I've given a couple of presentations about our shooting and losing 10 people and one of them being an officer and knowing that officer like I did, but only having worked at Boulder for 4 months and having a new police chief like 6 months. I think the city actually and the community came together really well, given the circumstances of everything that happened at the time. And the lessons that we've learned since then were things that we would share with others just to be prepared when that happens
Yeah.
in their community. And it has, and others have taken those lessons to make the experiences less painful for them when they go through it. I think one of the biggest thing though is just building those relationships ahead of time. The PIOs who just showed up, I didn't ask for any of them. They all showed up. One of them, several of them even beat me to the scene, and would not have gotten through any of it without all of them. And then the victim advocates being able
Yeah.
to have those partnerships, which allowed us to take better care of the victims and those families in that situation, was critical.
Yeah. And I think it kind of ties back to that previous networking training together, where if you don't already have those relationships established, there's no way that would have been possible. And it would have been so overwhelming just for you and your agency to deal with all that at the same time. That's incredible. So,
Well, and I think a lot of people don't realize that we had a jurisdictional connection between Boulder and Arvada at the time in this shooting. When I had gone up to Boulder to assist, I had no idea that the evil suspect actually resided in my city.
mhm.
And we'd had an incident with him once before. And I just could not believe the damage inflicted in that case. And I I still to this day do not understand how that didn't happen in our jurisdiction. And except for the fact that this person was just evil
Yeah.
and decided to put that evil on the poor city of Boulder that day in that community.
Yeah. And with that, because as it's happening, things are coming out. And for both cases that you guys are referencing, there was, misinformation or stuff that hadn't been vetted yet coming out. How do you manage that or do the best you can in the moment? What do you do with that?
I think it's kind of a mix depending on what the information is.
Mhm.
Initially, for example, there was information about a secondary shooter, and there was so much chaos going on. I don't think we could even address it initially.
Mhm.
But then later on, there was criticism about response time of the officer who was killed. And I saw that went through all the noise that was on social media. I was like, no, here's the actual time, date, and stamp of all that stuff to correct that information, because that was critical for the community, for our agency, and all that kind of stuff. And it's just a matter of trying to keep up with what you can and picking what your battles are with that.
Yeah. That's a good point.
And it's sad, but I would say most likely not in my community.
Mhm.
Would there be nefarious people that would put things out just to create more anger and upset, either against the police or against even the victims? But I mean, there are groups of people that their sole purpose in life is to create anger and to create divisiveness amongst people on social media. And sadly, those sick individuals will take advantage of a tragic incident, and they will come onto social media and they will make commentary and they will make things. And there's, some of the questions I get are, why don't you take those down? Well, some of the times we can't because
Right.
they're not out of policy for your social media platform, and it's First Amendment.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's a lot of consideration. And again, going back to preparing your victims, their families, even your internal staff who may be targeted for anything.
I've flat out said, and I've told officers involved in different things, and victims, don't watch the news and don't look at social media particularly.
Yeah.
Because social media is just, it's hard to tell who's on your side.
Yeah. Go back to the dark ages where it was wonderful and didn't hear any of that noise. Yeah.
I remember those times. I'm glad I grew up in those times.
Yeah. Yeah. As you were like a newsie, come get your newspaper here. 5 cents. Get your daily.
Exactly what it
Yeah,
sounded
I
like.
know.
How do you do that so well?
I don't know how we're going to explain that to him. It's not how this works.
Oh.
Not any of this is how this works.
Don't tell him.
Oh. You're not running paper
okay.
routes
No, never
anymore
mind.
and off your bike. And
Shh.
okay. So to kind of wrap up on the kind of the crisis communication. So what was your process for assessing things and kind of do a little self-evaluation afterwards? Like how long did you wait to kind of do a little debrief, whether it was officially or unofficially, and even just kind of do a little self-assessment of like, all right, I think here's some things I did well and some things I could do better at. How'd that work out?
I was beating myself up immediately
All
for
right.
things I'd wish I'd done or done differently. Or
Yeah.
yeah, no, because I mean, and some of the frustrating things, and specifically into the relationship of our officer's murder in 2021. You know, we had information leaks going out, giving the officer's name. We were trying to notify his family of his death, and it took some time because it was his son's birthday.
Yeah.
And not a ton of people know that fact, but that's why it took us 3 hours to come up with a press statement. Because again, taking care of the victim,
Right.
taking care of their families is so critical. And I think sometimes that gets lost in our job. People think we're all kind of robotic, whether we're public information or any kind of first responder. They think we're robotic when it comes to that. And boy, it's completely the opposite. And
Yeah.
I think if you want to meet people that are more, show more empathy than most, you talk to a public information person, because they spend the time talking to folks and trying to get information out.
Yeah. Surprisingly, I mean, even you deep down in there somewhere have a heart, which is amazing. Proud of you.
It's really tough. No.
It's right here. Their heart. I can hear it, almost hear it beating.
No, that's not it.
No? Okay.
That's indigestion.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
that's a Zantac working through. Well, speaking, you kind of mentioned that, you said something immediately. It was like, do you have any like funny incident? It doesn't have to, let's just be in general career wide of like where you said something funny or flubbed or just any funny thing you did either during an interview or on camera in the moment that you want to divulge?
I'm thinking you go first.
Or something you couldn't believe you did.
You
like,
do need to
what?
think. I know that takes time.
I know, it hurts
especially
too.
at your age. But
It's physically painful.
you're the funny one here. You're the funny one again. You know,
Or even like a funny circumstance you had to communicate. Like we had this really like, I can't believe I get to say this on air or whatever. Like something you could.
Is it sad that I can count on one hand the number of media interviews I've done where I could smile?
Ooh.
Because every other time I have to be serious.
Yeah.
That's kind of sad. Okay, that's kind of sad funny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's sad funny. Yeah, I mean, it is serious business, but we try to have fun where we can.
Yeah, I bing, there's the bell. Do you see the light?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's one. We had an armed robbery. There was actually a shooting involved. Nobody was killed or anything like that. And it was like a 12-hour day, and we have done a press briefing.
Mhm.
And, for folks that don't know, in a real live news briefing, the cameras are on, there's no editing, there's no cutting.
Yeah.
And I was training a new information person who gave a great statement. And one of the reporters at the end said, "Are you going to collect the video from the store there? It looks like there's cameras in it." And immediately when my person stopped talking, I immediately said, "Really? We've been out here for 6 hours, and that's the best question you could come up with, is pointing at the very visible cameras on the very visible gas station where there was a shooting and asking if we would actually collect." No, the answer was no, we're not going to collect that.
Yeah. There's
And
no evidentiary value there.
I can't believe you're still in media today.
Yeah.
So,
That's the Dave we love.
and that didn't get cut. That was all right on the news. I got a lot of calls from friends and family saying, "Wow, you're just a jerk sometimes." And I'm like, "I'm sorry. That was my bad.
That was-
Long
yeah.
day."
But you were not
that-
wrong.
Yeah. I mean, you spoke the
I was
obvious.
not
but
wrong,
That's fair.
but yeah. Yeah. What's that Captain Obvious commercial? Yeah.
Yeah.
Way to go.
Well, what are some things you like to decompress from some of those stressful moments? I mean, what hobbies do you have, or do you like travel or anything like that? What do you guys do in the off time when the phone's not ringing?
You go first because yours is.
I just run. I literally run away from my problems because
There
I
you go.
found that that's pretty healthy.
Yeah.
And that's honestly, I started doing that years before, and it saved my life. It really has. Just all types, just running, just
Gotcha.
long distance running, because eventually your mind will shut down, and then you won't think of anything.
Yeah.
And it's a peace.
Except the pain.
Peace.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, you won't even hear. You won't even feel that anymore. You will run out of all the
Yeah.
feelings. Come with me.
I've
Run with
run out
me.
of feelings.
There you go. You
What?
guys need to come
Well
run with me. That's
All
my
right.
takeaway.
I jog. I'm not, Dionne, I'm not, look at me. I'm built to move heavy things. I'm not fast.
True.
I have one mode. That's like pushing a refrigerator.
Dave's compact. He's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's all set. I like hiking
Okay.
and I like the solitude. My favorite seasons are mud season anywhere in
Mm.
the country. I will do mud season hiking. I'm happy if I only see one person on a trail. I don't care walking in snow
Yeah.
or rain or sleet, as long as I'm like one of the only people out there. Could be to my detriment one day, but and I love movies. I am a huge
Okay.
movie buff.
What was the most recent movie you saw?
Oh my gosh, it could be anything, and you would put me on the square. Last night I rewatched Fletch.
Okay.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
classic. Fletch.
That is a classic because we
Nice.
just lost George Wendt,
Yes.
great Cheers actor at
yeah.
age 76.
Yeah.
So yeah, horribly tragic, beautiful actor, but he played Fat Sam on the beach in
Yeah.
Fletch. For all you toddlers, Fletch was a movie in the 80s, long before you were
What?
born. Yeah. So, but it is a classic. It is classic Chevy Chase.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's old George Wendt. Yeah, I recently learned that Jason Sudeikis from Saturday Night Live and We Are the Millers and some other movies is George Wendt's nephew. So
No.
there's a little family
Did not
connection
know
there.
that.
Yeah. So, I saw it on social media, so it could totally be not true.
Was it on MySpace?
It was on MySpace. It was in my blog. Yeah, on MySpace.
Your
You
live
read it-
your live journal?
He read it on his Palm Pilot.
All right, you guys are making fun of me now. This isn't fun anymore.
But we're not wrong.
Well, what's the best thing about being a PIO or organizational spokesperson for our future our wannabe
No,
communicators out there?
Nobody wants to do this job.
What? All three of us voluntarily stood up to raised our hand to do this, correct?
Well, I think the IQ between us is not that great. So, I mean, I don't know that we did well.
I think we were voluntold. Is that the expression?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah. All right. Well, what's your origin story of how you became Arvada's PIO? For the police
I'd done many assignments. I had
Mhm.
made my way through 5 years in CSI,
Mhm.
and I had been the backup PIO, and
Okay.
there was an opening, and I was going to go either be a sergeant or become a PIO. And I had a conversation in the chief's office, and when I walked out,
Yeah,
I was asked to be PIO. So I think it was one of those voluntold things, but
Yeah.
I love this job because I get it even more, I think, than a sergeant.
Yeah.
I get to impact an entire department, a community that I love, that I've given 30 years of my life to. I absolutely love it. And just today I was talking about the downfall of PR bonds, personal recognizance bonds, and how terrible they can be when there's a gap between getting arrested and going to court, and there's no accountability in between unless we make people put cash money on it,
Yeah.
I think. And it's not a punishment. It's just a contract to say, I'll be good until I go to court.
Yeah.
And we're missing that. So I love it. Absolutely love it.
Nice.
And I gotta say, I love it too. As challenging as it is, as traumatizing as it is a job like no other. Like, you're never bored. You never know what your day is going to hold. And you also never know the positive difference you're going to make in someone's life.
Yeah.
Or how it's going to change you in ways that you never saw coming. So you're making a difference in the world, in your community, with the people around you, whether they're victims, whether it's officers, civilian staff, even the leaders that we serve. Like, to get them to understand different things is, I think, one of the things I enjoy about this job too, is just that information sharing and perspective, and generally, kind of like some of the officers say, like making the world a better place.
No.
I know. Hold back your tears.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
There
This
you
is a good
go.
one. That was a good answer, Dionne.
There's no tears over here, just over there.
Ew.
Get back in there, tear. How dare you? No, I agree. I mean, similarly, where I was voluntold, I was a road sergeant at the time, loved my shift, being just, running around with my young bucks and having fun, and then get a phone call like, well, what do you think about being PIO? I was like, can I think about it? And they're like, well, not really. You start next week. I'm like, oh, cool. All right.
It's a great start.
Yeah, that was my introduction. So,
But you get to impact a lot more people,
yeah.
don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
By the information you share, by the comments you make, and sometimes you're just commenting on behalf of the people that work in your agency, and you're standing up for them.
yeah.
And making a statement.
That's the biggest thing for me is, and I tell my internal folks all the time, like, please give me the information, but I will go out there. I'll take the arrows. I'll shine the light on you when rightfully so, and give you all the love that you guys deserve for doing the work. But yeah, I mean, but being that little barrier for my internal folks is super important to me. So, and I know for the rest of you guys as well. So, well, let's see what other questions I write down. You guys beat me to a bunch of stuff. Let's see.
Oh, we are PIOs. We talk
Ooh.
about
Sweet, yeah.
Do you have any crazy tics or habits you had to almost train yourself away from? Like the first few times you maybe saw yourself on camera?
You go first.
No, mine's mean. Go ahead.
Well, now I have to know.
When I'm being asked questions in a news briefing, I will do one of two things. I will point to a reporter for a question, and if it's not a good question or one that's really, really bad, I'll just move to the next reporter.
Like if you already
so
got
I'll
the
be click.
camera.
So and I'm going to claim that's a tick. Okay. So, and then when I'm really getting frustrated, my family has told me this. They go, you literally bite your lip.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like you're holding
That's
in
your
all the
tell.
bad stuff that
That's
you want.
your tell.
Okay.
That's my tell. And it's
like
time for somebody to get Dave off the mic, because what comes next is all downhill and internal affairs worthy.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
So, yeah, absolutely.
What about you, Dionne? Anything you've had to train yourself out of, or crazy tics?
It's mostly just a little bit of OCD, just like the fidgetiness that I now put on anybody who does interviews. I'm like, we don't fidget. We just sit there. Whatever the pose is, we're going to hold it. Fidget.
Nice.
Do it.
Yeah.
Adam does downward dog.
I do.
I could see that.
Yeah.
When he gets
downward
nervous.
dog. I do most of my interviews from that position.
Yeah.
It's quite comfortable, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. I'm limber. But the classic, what do I do with my hands? That's always a good one. And I know mine, I hate it because I know what's going to happen at this point, but I always end up squinting, because most of the time people I've had to learn is they like to point us into the sun. So it's behind the, camera team and the reporters. But that means I'm always doing this. So I'm like, what can I, all right, let me answer all your questions. And so I haven't been able to break that one yet. So any crazy habits that you've picked up since that you've noticed that maybe you didn't have before you became a PIO?
My filter is quickly degrading.
You had a filter?
At one time
Ever?
I did. Yeah, I actually had a filter, and it is quickly degrading. So yeah, if you see something coming from me that I'm saying that, you may stay tuned, because it could go viral.
I like it. Just do a pay-per-view.
Yeah. Pay-per-views press conference.
Yeah.
Pay-per-view still exists?
I don't know. But just, an unfiltered, unedited. I like it.
And it usually comes out when we're correcting comments, and I use the term correcting lightly on social media. And we will say something, or it usually comes in the form of a meme. And again, really, it's protecting our community members.
Yeah.
Because it's taken a while over the past several years to get some of our social media back from the haters. Because there's a lot of people that really, and they're not here.
Yeah.
Or they're most likely not in your jurisdiction. But when your community members come on to support you, they get kind of beaten down by these negative people. And it's on occasion we'll stick up for them. And it's that silent majority that you don't see on social media are the ones that are grateful for what those cops go out and do every single day and night.
Agreed.
So while you're sleeping warm at home, there's cops out there rolling around your neighborhood, willing to do whatever they can and stand between you and evil.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, Yeah. And it's great to have community support.
Yeah.
And I hope if people take one thing away, it's like, get on your social media and let the people know that, yeah, you support your police. We're not perfect. That's for sure. But
yeah. And I think that's one thing too, is as communicators, sometimes we just have to, hug the cactus, so to speak, of like, here's this ugly thing. We have to go tell the world that this is something we're dealing with internally. But I think
hug the cactus.
I've never heard that one before.
That's going to be a new shirt for Adam.
Yes, it is.
Welcome to Adams County. Hug the cactus.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, well. What about you, Dionne?
I can't follow hug the cactus.
Yeah.
All my habits are unhealthy now. Just
Okay.
The ability to compartmentalize all kinds of
good for
feelings
you.
is probably not good.
Feelings are dumb. Yeah.
Run away from them, compartmentalize.
Yeah.
It's weird now to sometimes when I just have one phone, I'm like, where's my other phone? And there's people who are like, why do you have two phones? I remember when I first started having two phones, they're like, are you a drug dealer? I'm like, no, I just have one for work. And it's to not have two phones feels weird.
Yeah.
I have to, and I have to check both of them. I have to check the notifications all the time. Wait, that's not normal.
Yeah.
That's all.
Little anxiety, work
bit.
induced anxiety.
Yeah. Like right now, I can't check my work phone. I hope it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
That's why this is going to be our longest podcast of all time.
Oh, God.
Just to drive your anxiety through the roof.
Not cool.
Yeah.
Hug the cactus.
Yeah, hug it.
the cactus.
I think I heard it vibrating.
Mm.
All right. So just last question for you guys. So we've kind of talked about where you've started, things you've dealt with. Where are you going? What inspires you at this point of your career?
Crazy. I'm going, oh, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go ahead, Dan.
Well, what, when you wake up and you're driving into work, like what's your inspiration, your purpose at this point in your career? Look, as you go along.
Again, I think we have the unique ability to tell our community not only what's good about your department or good about the judicial or the justice system, but we also have, I think we have a responsibility to tell our community members, this is not right about the system. And this is not working. And they're like, again, I hate to, but you come back and poor victims and they see their suspect right back out on the road. And I think we have a responsibility to inform the decision makers at different levels in this state. Hey, look, from where we are down in the mix, this is what we're seeing, and this is what would help. And maybe you should be changing this law or making a law about this instead of some of the laws. I honestly, I don't understand, and I'm not being rude. It's like there's so many important things to work on when it comes to law enforcement and things like that, and keeping our communities safe. We should focus on that. And I think it's our responsibility. That's why I get out of bed for that job every day, to push forward and, find stuff that will make people safer every day and put that out there.
Yeah. And by knowing you, I know you're also seeing some of the unintended consequences of those decisions and legislation and things coming in. And that's something we also have to deal with internally and externally, of kind of seeing the bigger picture and telling our leadership or our town council and state legislators, this is where this leads.
Yeah. So, I mean, some of the laws made in this state have really affected recruiting.
Yeah.
For example, in law enforcement, and it makes its way all the way down to like conducting a DUI checkpoint and the information having now to be gathered at those. The stop data is overwhelmingly time consuming.
Yeah.
And I know there's jurisdictions now that probably won't be doing checkpoints.
Yeah, because we're also obligated to be reasonable and timely in our stops and contacts. So it's like, which is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. What about for you, Dionne? What inspires you other than running?
Mostly running, but no, that's it. It's a little bit about what Dave said. It's also the ability to tell officers and like professional staff stories. Like some of our younger officers recently came into law enforcement because they had bad experiences with officers where they grew up. So they went into this profession to kind of have a different impact than the experiences they've had, and the ability to tell some of their stories, personal and professional, and for them to see how that impacts the community they serve it's really impactful for me.
Yeah.
And then some of the things I have become close because Boulder is such a small town. I've become close with some people, including like a family that tragically lost their daughter, their young daughter, in just a horrible accident a year ago. But to see their resilience and to see their faith is just personally really inspiring, and how they're using that tragedy to move forward and still continue to make the world a better place is just awe inspiring to me. And these are people that I would never have met if I
Mm.
didn't do this job. And so these little small things I think add up to, again, like, bring a tear to your eye, but like to make the world a better place. All these little things I think add up to serve our community.
Yeah. And I think that both bring up great points. As professional communicators in our agencies, we have that unique ability to do that and have those, a seat at pretty much any table within an organization we want, plus within the community, and have those relationships. And, through tragedy, even, having some amazing relationships that you wouldn't otherwise have experienced or have influence in. So it's incredible. Well, thank you both for being here. And I firsthand can say the people of Boulder are extremely lucky to have you as the face of the Boulder Police Department. I know the chief there is extremely lucky as well. And same for you, Dave. You're okay. No, the people of Arvada, the town of Arvada, the city of Arvada is extremely lucky to have you there, especially for as long as you've been there. And hopefully you don't ever leave. You just
no.
stay.
Eventually I'm going to go.
No, but then just come back the next day.
Yeah, no, that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
Well, until that day comes, hopefully it's not anytime soon. They're extremely lucky to have you. So thank you both for being here and sharing a little bit of your world and your experiences.
Thank you.
Thanks for
And
having
for us, you can find us at any of our social media platforms on our YouTube channel. Please email us at communityconnections@adcogov.org for any questions, any things we can address, any topic ideas. And we'd love to hear back from you. So we encourage you to download our app as well. So until the next time, thank you for being a part of Breaking and Adventuring.